Hi, I'm Leah Small, and this is Virginia Voices, where you will hear first-person stories from people most affected by current politics, policy, and economic trends. We give Virginians outside the news a full stage to explore their thoughts and experiences beyond a few sound bites or paragraphs in a daily news story. Virginia Voices is a project of the Virginia Center for Investigative Journalism at WHRO. Tatiana is a Ukrainian immigrant from the city of Kyiv, now living in central Virginia. We are referring to her by first name only due to frequent online death threats she has received because she is Ukrainian and because she supports humanitarian aid efforts in support of Ukraine. Tatiana, who is in her 40s, immigrated to the U.S. in her early 20s and has lived in Virginia since 2014. Most of her family remains in Ukraine since the start of Russia's invasion of her home country. Tatiana has risked her life traveling back to Ukraine 3 times to give aid, partnering with the non-governmental organization Razom. She has also raised more than $15,000 on behalf of Ukraine from selling her artwork and has fundraised with Virginia organizations such as St. Nicholas Ukrainian Orthodox Church. So, Tatiana, I'd like to start by getting to know you a bit. What first brought you to the U.S. and then to Virginia?
Schooling, I decided that I need to know English better than I studied before. Very simple. When you're young, you want to discover the world and travel different countries. Central Virginia is a beautiful place. Nature, mountains, it makes me feel like home. Actually, if you go to Western Ukraine, landscape will look very similar. You go to the mountains, you see sheep, creeks, a beautiful view, sunset. That part of Virginia makes me feel like at home. Unfortunately, Ukrainian community is not so big here in the area, except Washington, D.C. diaspora, but most of Ukrainians who come to Virginia for school or for work, they don't stay for so long. And they leave and move somewhere else. Most Ukrainians go back to Europe.
Take me back to when you first got the news of the invasion, February 2022.
U.S. government published the news that Ukraine might be invaded for a few months in advance. So the time that I heard that American embassy in Kyiv was closed down and everybody left, on U.S. Official side that every American has to leave Ukraine immediately, and that was about 3 weeks before invasion. I knew something bad gonna really happen because it's first time in my life I hear such a terrible news that every foreign citizen have to leave Ukraine immediately. And I tried to talk to my family, to my friends who are in Ukraine, tried to leave now, and everybody said, well, Russia said they're not going to attack us. They say they're not going to attack us. I said, you cannot believe Russia. You never could believe Russian president. Never. I could not convince anybody from my Ukrainian family, Ukrainian friends to leave the country. In about 2 days before February 22, I have a message from one of my friends, and he said, you should take your family out of Kyiv. And they give me information that it's probably going to be invaded on February 26, 27. I called them, but they just laughed at me. No, it's just too much. No, it's never going to happen. And I was online in that time. I was watching, and the first moment that I see explosion online, that was in Kyiv. I knew that starts. I was sort of mentally, I was already prepared. I started calling everybody, wake up. And several of my friends, when I called them, they woke up. I said, why you wake us up at 4 a.m.? We don't. And I said, look in the window, look what's happening. Of course, I couldn't sleep after I talked to everybody, and everybody admitted it started. So I felt like, what do we do now? My heart is literally dropped down to below the ground. It's just like, this is death threat for entire country. They can be demolished. We don't know if Russia go and shoot the nuclear weapon immediately, or they just go and shoot rockets. or what is going to happen. So in the morning, what I told my family to get money out the bank, to get basic groceries and water. And if they can leave, they would leave. But the traffic was so bad at that point, because people, as soon as they heard that they got got in a car in traffic to leave the town on the 1st of February, 24th, 25th, 27th, until March 7th, traffic was to leave the city. By March 10, Russian was already surrounding city. So everybody who tried to leave was killed. Putin gave directions to Russian troops: kill everybody and everything that's moving. Doesn't matter, women, children, babies, no matter. Hundreds, if not thousands, people were killed trying to leave the city. It was horrifying, and my family tried to leave city about March 10th. 24 hours later, they notified me they got to a safer area in Ukraine. They did not leave Ukraine, they just moved in a safer area. So only a month later, I realized, when I asked, where's your car? I realized the car was shot, and while we were driving, they were shot by Russians, and by only luck in my prayers, everybody, they survive. On February 25th in the morning, I tried to talk to my mother, and she was on the street going somewhere, and suddenly I see this huge airplane right above her head, and she didn't even realize. It was so low and so close. I don't know what kind of airplane it was, Russian or Ukrainian. We did not know. I mean, it was just flew so low, and the feeling when you're not there, but you FaceTime somebody, and I FaceTime with my military friends. During the battle, they can talk to you, and it just puts you in a situation. How to explain, to be here and for them to be there, but see what's happening there, makes you so angry that you cannot help, that you cannot be in the moment, because you think if you were there in the moment, you could do something to save their life, to help. But this distance, it's most painful thing that can be in a situation like that.
But you have helped. You've gone over three
Yes.
times.
Yes, I went.
At great personal risk.
I did not feel like I risk anything. It's easier emotionally to go there and to be there than watch it from here. The first time I went in May, the Kiev city area was already freed and deliberated from Russians. But the beautiful area, the buildings just right outside Kiev that used to be prestigious district, completely demolished. And that's the first time when I saw ruins. Passing by with a friend of mine, he said, we remember we had a party there last year, and it was beautiful homes, beautiful, really beautiful homes, gardens, fountains, everything. Just ruins, just ruins. It's devastating to see how somebody completely demolished your country, your people, and it's changing. It's just overnight. To explain the feelings, impossible, because it changed you from inside.
When you were there with Razom, what did you do?
We help soldiers on the front line. We help Children's Hospital. We help amputees, wounded soldiers, and it's ongoing offline, online fundraising. And there's so many people who needed help that it never ends.
What was the most impactful thing you saw when you were there, any of your 3 times?
So civilians hospital turned to a military hospital. In staff, very much change, and they're willing to work hard for very little money, and they're willing to help with wounded soldiers, with people who need help, to transport them to foreign hospitals. So basically, it's a devoted work of Ukrainian doctors. I saw the building in Kiev, several buildings that would destroy. I saw them destroy in last year in 22 in May. And one of them was destroyed right across where I was living. I see the rocket come and an explosion. It's already restored. Not fully, but restoring. So war is not ended, but people are already restoring buildings. And I never seen it such a quick, I would say, rejuvenation in any other country.
What is it like to live with that constant loss?
It's deprive your energy. It takes a lot of your physical and emotional energy, every news of loss of your family or friends. It is very hard, I would not lie. It's very difficult. Days of tears and not wanting anything to do because you think it's useless. It doesn't matter what you do, those people, you're still losing people there. It takes time to process these emotions, but you understand nothing can return. So after I get over my grief and sadness, I look back and what life those people lived, what they done, and they were beautiful people, amazing people, incredible, bright, and those memories, you bring memories back and keeps you going. We have expression in Ukraine, heroes never die, but almost every Ukrainian a hero now, because living in Ukraine and fight for your freedom, it is a hero. Heroes never die, they really don't. I lost one of my uncles, close uncles, and I lost another uncle. It's a little bit distant family. I lost my best friend from childhood. Mother was killed, and I knew her very well, so she was a part of my family. It was difficult to understand why she just went outside to grocery store. Well, we all knew that city was attacked every day, but you never expect somebody to die from those attacks. One of the volunteers here from States that we met on the very beginning of the war, he asked me how to get to Ukraine, how to become paramedics there. It was a great experience. He served in Syria, in Iraq, and he was a retired military doctor. He decided to go to Ukraine. About 2 weeks ago, he was also killed. There's funeral every day, and the friends of friends dying every day.
And you've partnered with St. Nicholas Church to raise a lot of money for Ukraine. I didn't know how often you attended and whether having a faith connection has helped you get through these times.
Actually connected with St. Nicholas Church been a blessing for me because the previous priest or pastor was Ukrainian heritage. His grandparents was from Ukraine. He liked to study Ukrainian culture, language. Unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he retired, and we have new pastor here. Most parishioners in St. Nicholas are American, but American who support Ukraine. It's kind of interesting to see American try to adapt Slavic mentality. It's like a little island of faith and beliefs. Everybody who comes there try to support you, and it's very helpful.
Have you seen any other showings of support in Central Virginia or the church community that really surprised you or touched you in regard to helping the humanitarian effort in Ukraine?
On the very beginning of war, first week and a half, first 10 days, I was in a stage of shock and not knowing what to do. One of the ladies that I collaborate a few years ago from station called me and said, we want to do small event for to support Ukraine, which I did not expect, and I did not know what it's gonna be. She invited me there, and there was about between 100 and maybe 200 people in the street, Americans that knew nothing about Ukraine, but they heard about war. And it was amazing because I talk about my country, I talk about culture. The event was outside. Children drew sunflowers, a symbol of Ukraine, blue and yellow flags. Those American people that never been in Ukraine, they don't know anything about this country, but they showed the support. Everybody who passed the street blew the horn. Some people stopped and listened and support. That was a huge surprise in uplifting, and it's when I decided that I should do fundraising, because I did not ask for any funds from anybody there, but people came and say, we're going to donate $50, $100, $200. Who will donate to? Where it's going to go? And first they donate to me, but very quickly I found who needs this money in Ukraine.
Wow. And is that support still continuing? Because this was beginning of the war. Do you still feel that people feel just as passionately about supporting Ukraine and here?
To be honest, no, people cannot stay as passionate. Many politicians talking about fatigue of war. To be honest, it's very tiring to read the news, to know what's happening. People, not just in US, I travel different countries, in Germany and even in Poland, which is on the border with Ukraine, very close. They still try to help, and it's moving more to a larger organization that help. And I know many American families that brought Ukrainian refugees, people they never knew, they never met, but they offered them sponsorship and brought to us. This is a different type of help.
You're an artist. You've sold upwards of 35 paintings toward fundraising for the humanitarian effort in Ukraine. How has the war shaped your art?
This is one of the most difficult questions because it's changing every day. So art, creative art is emotions. One of the painting that I sold and was painted in the first week of war, it's changing in color and vision. So when I express my emotions and through war, it wouldn't be a surprise for anybody. It's not blue and yellow colors, what you think it's patriotic. It's red because this war about blood. About losing people, about losing generations in that. Paintings are very emotional. When you express your emotions, you not really analyze it right away immediately. For me, country, not something separate from me. My country, Ukraine, it's my land, and I'm very rooted, low to the ground, where I can feel what's happening there, what's happening with my people. And all my ancestors, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, in letters of my great-grandfather, I seen this often, that only your home, it's when you, the place of your birth, it's your land. It gives you energy. And before war, even during the war, every time I go home, it's a place that gives me energy. It's my, well, basically the source of my life. If I lose it, I lose my life, emotionally. That's how it's changed.
Does it help you stay optimistic? You speak of art as expressing a desire to live.
In my case, art is not therapy. Art can be therapy, can be wonderful therapy, same as music. For me, art is a hard work, and expressing this emotion also take a lot of energy out of me. I feel drained and exhausted after I do the piece of art. Most amazing part of artwork, when the client send you a moment, he said, I'm framing this in this frame, I'm framing, and it's going to be set on this wall in this room. And then I feel like, I live this life for something. It has meaning, it has something future. That is a positive outcome of the very difficult art process.
Connecting to optimism and the feeling of having a future, how do you feel overall about your country's chances of success in this war?
100% success. There's no way of losing this war. There's zero chances of losing this war. I wish it was ended sooner and we don't have so many losses in the completely destroyed economy. They're not winning on the battlefield, even they have 10 times more ammunition and 10 times more people, troops in their army. They're not winning. And we have history, how many times in history of Ukraine, Tatars, Golden Hordes attack Ukraine and completely demolished. Nothing was left. Nothing. In Ukraine, every time rebuilt. It's like a phoenix bird. It's raised from the fire. It's raised from the dust. So I truly believe in victory. There's no other chances. What could be, it take longer than we want. We might have more losses than we want. But Ukraine will win.
I'm host and producer Leah Small. Virginia Voices is a project of the Virginia Center for Investigative Journalism at WHRO. Executive producers are Christopher Tyree and Louis Hansen. The podcast is edited by Chris and myself. Virginia Voices is made possible through a grant by Virginia Humanities and donors like you. You can read the story and see photos from today's show and past episodes on our website, vcij.org, which is linked in our bio. We hope that if you like these conversations, you'll subscribe to Virginia Voices, where we'll continue to share the stories of Virginia citizens whose lives are impacted by the news of the day. On behalf of everyone here at the Virginia Center for Investigative Journalism, thank you for your time and support.